Blake with Finishing Touches out of Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in business.
I think we're at 25 years now.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about what you do and who you serve.
Well, basically, we're a general contractor that services largely real estate investors in the DFW Metroplex. We do work on some vacant properties for homeowners here and there, and we do some work on homeowners as well. Those are more tricky because they are definitely more challenging to navigate, and there's an emotional attachment to the homeowner that is not typically with the investor or the savvy investor. There's no emotional attachment.
Right.
So with the homeowners, there's an emotional attachment, which sparks a different conversation, which takes us down a completely different, almost like a rabbit hole, in how we handle their home and their house because of the emotional attachments to it.
Right. That makes sense.
So we cater, we're basically curb to alley, foundation to roof, and everything in the middle. We don't play in the dirt, so we don't do landscape, plant flowers, things like that. But we do outsource that to people that do.
Okay. Do you have your own crews, or do you just GC and bring in other outside crews?
The largest part is done in-house.
Okay.
Once we hit the busy season, which we're getting into, we do have some crews that we sub to, but those crews are crews that we've had for, let's say, 10, 12 years.
You don't go to Home Depot and pick up crews.
No, we're not doing that. We have way too much exposure, too much liability to even consider that.
So all your guys are vetted, all your guys have been working with y'all specifically for years and years.
Yeah, I would bring them into my own house.
Okay, cool. Well, what are the trends right now in residential construction? What are the trends that the investors are doing in their houses to get top dollar, to make these magazine cover houses?
Right.
What are they doing, and what are the difficulties and the pinpoints on those kinds of things?
Right now the trend is, honestly, with the inventory being so light from the investor side, they're older homes, more distressed, 1920s, 30s homes, and they need everything. So we're going in and literally, new stuff. Man, I was in one yesterday in Hurst, and oh my God.
Yeah, and you got to take it down to the dirt.
It's literally, that's basically what it is.
Because there's no slabs, you've got to take the floor joists, floor joist, everything out. You're down to the rock around it and the little rock pillars.
Yeah, it's basically like it's almost once a week I almost fall through a foundation somewhere. And that happened to me just yesterday. There's dead rats, dead possums and stuff in this home. So, the trend is basically tear it all out, put it all back. We're still into for the investors, we're still doing a lot of the gray color palette. But for the homeowners, gray's definitely kind of out the door.
Really?
Yeah, gray's pretty much over.
I heard that like a month or two ago. I heard that the gray is kind of out the door now. What are they leaning to that you know of?
It's interesting depending on the homeowner. So if it's just an average homeowner just doing a quick facelift, it's probably more in the taupes.
Okay.
In between the gray and the browns.
Yeah.
Similar to what you have kind of back here.
Yeah.
But a lot of the more eccentric homeowners, man, they're doing heavy accent walls and real bold colors.
Like cigar room color accent walls, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The velvet kind of looking paint and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I think that as far as the homeowners go, that whole farmhouse look is still pretty heavily played. They're changing it a little, but we're still kind of in that area.
Right.
And homeowners are so diverse. I was in one the other day that we're doing, and they are very eclectic. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of everything. And then you get some that really follow almost Chip and Joanna's catalog to the T. So it's kind of a little bit more personal effect, which kind of gets back to the emotional side of things, like we were talking about, how those emotions and people's experiences kind of play into it.
Right on. So what advice would you give a homeowner who's trying to do a DIY versus hiring a professional to come in and do it?
I think that's going to be a tricky question because my knee jerk would say, so there's two different people talking here, okay?
Yeah.
There's Blake the contractor, then there's Blake the DIY.
Right.
So Blake the contractor says, don't get in over your head, don't do electrical, don't do plumbing, don't do central heat and air, just stick to cosmetics, things like that, and let the heavy lifting be done by the licensed professional trades.
Right.
Then there's me, myself, that says, watch a damn YouTube video and figure it out. So I kind of talk out both sides of my mouth, but I definitely wouldn't, if you're not experienced in it, I definitely wouldn't try to start jumping into it.
Yeah.
And I think that you can do, man, there's enough stuff out there that if you want to learn how to DIY, there's enough information on the web.
Yeah.
And going to Home Depot classes.
And I was just thinking that way.
Yeah, you can absolutely figure out like how to lay a tile floor.
There is no reason you can't find anything on the internet. If you haven't found it, it just means you haven't looked hard enough.
Right.
It's out there.
It's been done. It's all been done.
Yeah. The internet. That's the funny thing. There isn't anything you can't learn how to do on the internet in one way or another.
Right.
Yeah, you definitely can get in over your head, I feel like, and
But you know, even if you get in over your head, and this is like the non-contractor talking.
Gotcha.
Even if you do get in over your head, you can still hire a professional to come clean it
Right.
up. And then you just learn from that mistake.
Exactly.
And life's about learning from mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you're not learning.
Exactly. You're growing.
Right.
Exactly.
So I don't know if that answers that question or helps, but that's kind of my philosophy on it.
Yeah. That's right on.
And then, the other side of that is also from the investor's perspective, don't do it. Don't do it, man.
Yeah.
Hire the professional, get in, get out, get it done, churn and burn.
Yeah.
That's the game. So it's two totally different concepts. One, I'm telling you, go try it, and then if you screw it up, I just hire somebody to come.
Well, yeah, they're going to keep their property. They're not planning on selling it necessarily. They're trying to add value to it. So if they do decide to sell it, then cool. But if they don't, they live in a nice house.
Right.
Whereas the investor, they want it done in 3 months, come hell or high water, and it better be done top end and bring the most money because let's go.
Right.
So, yep. Answered well.
Good.
I think I'm going to try to do something a little different there. See if this will hide at all. What are the key factors homeowners should consider when selecting a contractor for their project? Let's see if that'll kind of sit right there. So, what are the key factors to consider when trying to find a contractor when a homeowner is trying to find a contractor for their work?
Man,
I know you're pretty far removed from that, so that's...
No, it's not that. It's like anything. When you go on Amazon and you're going to buy something, you read the reviews.
Yeah.
And I hate to put so much weight on that because it's so easy to just get, somebody...
You can buy reviews at this point.
Yeah.
But
so, and that's why, it's probably better to read the reviews with a grain of salt.
yeah.
Like I got a review on a separate thing that we're doing right now. The lady loved the home. She loved what we did. She gave us a great review, but accidentally clicked 1 star.
Oh no.
Well, I just dropped her
Yeah.
and she, funny thing is, she's an older woman, and we've asked her twice to try to go back and help. We've even talked to her granddaughter to try to get her to go back and undo it. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, perfect review, 1 star, but that 1 star drops us.
Oh yeah.
So, I think you read the reviews, take them with a grain of salt, but I think speak to neighbors, speak to people that they've worked with, get experiences of people that, a verbal referral is worth a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's worth a lot more than just reading reviews, because you do have to take those reviews with a grain of salt.
If they have video referrals, I think it goes leaps and bounds beyond a written referral. Like for my business on Google, it seems like anytime I get a review from a real person, there's 4 new reviews from some whatever that's a 1 star, and they don't even type anything. It's just a 1 star and that's it.
Yeah.
And they're fake, accounts.
Right.
And Google won't take them off. So I'm at like a 30 or something because I've got 8 real reviews out of 15 or something. So yeah, it reviews are hard that way. I go in and talk on my reviews and comment under them. So that's something else to look for. Just because you do see a bad review, make sure you do a little homework on the review. Normally, if it's a bad review and there'll be a rebuke under it or something like that, explaining the situation. Like he said, accidents happen. The little lady hit 1 star instead of 5. So,
it opened with love the home, can't wait to come back. Love to stay again, 1 star. It's like, dang. So anyway, I think for me it's more, and learning. I don't say learning, but reading the person. Because you're going to be, as a homeowner, you're going to be having guys and gals come in your home, and they're going to be able to offer you advice. They're going to give you different opinions, and just how that person carries themselves. You can usually pick up on between body language and just the way the person carries themselves if you get a good feel for it. Yeah. And that feel is, that's your gut kind of giving you some reality checks. And I think that combined with people in your neighborhood that have used this person or a referral from, a lot of our business, especially for homeowners, it's interesting. A lot of our homeowner work comes from referrals that our investors give to a friend.
Right.
Like they'll be out having dinner with friends, they'll be talking about their investment property, then the homeowner will go, yeah, I really don't want to do my kitchen, and then they'll give the referral. So then before I know it, my investors are referring homeowners.
Yeah. And
that's probably how we get, I'd say 60% of the homeowners that we work with.
Right on.
Which is kind of cool because they're vetted, because then the investor's already going, I'm going to warn you, he's a little direct. He's a little gruff. He's a little rough around the edges because he's in an industry that is.
He's used to blowing and going.
So, but if you remove that, or if you like that style, he'll go the mile for you.
Right.
So when they call me or we have a conversation, they're like, Fred told me you're going to say that.
Yep.
And you're going to be a little bit more geared towards that. So,
yeah.
But most people like it.
Well, yeah, you're geared towards this is what needs to happen, this is how it needs to happen, and this is the time frame it should happen. Let's get it.
Yeah. Or we're not a good fit.
Yeah.
We're just not the right guy for this job.
Right.
And that's something too that it'd blow your mind how many people that we say we're not a good fit for, and they get mad. And it's really odd because if somebody was to tell me that I'm not a good fit, I'd go, man, I appreciate the honesty, and I'm moving on. But they get mad, and then they dig their heels in and go, well, why would you say that? Why do you think that? And then I explain, then they get upset with me because...
It's like an ego shot to them.
Our personalities don't mesh, and if we're going to be married for the next 4 to 6 weeks together, and if our personalities don't mesh, then we're not a good fit.
We're going to be butting heads, and life's going to be miserable for 6 weeks.
And I don't believe I can meet your expectations. And if I say that, why would you they get mad? Yeah, it's really odd. It's very, it's kind of a joke around our office. It's like it's like the old sales concept with the takeaway. Then they want it even more.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I'm really trying to be honest. I'm not
trying to sell you. I'm not trying to close you. I want to be honest that we're probably not going to work well together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it happens, and that's the way it is in sales, like tremendously. But yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. What permits need to be pulled by a homeowner, and how would they navigate pulling those permits? I guess doing it DIY.
DIY, they don't really need permits if they're truly doing it themselves. Correct. There is a little bit of a gray area where they still should. I think they have to pull what's called a homeowner permit.
Correct.
And
it has to be their homestead.
Yes. And they can do it themselves, and then the inspectors will come in and tell them if it's... I don't think the inspectors will go so far as to tell you what's right and wrong.
Right.
They'll just tell you it's not right.
Right.
Because they don't want to be liable.
Yeah.
To be able to say, hey, wire should go here.
He told me to do it this way.
Yeah. We're in a society now where everybody wants to cast blame on the next person.
Yeah. Everybody wants to sue and do all that. So what would you say to someone, like, you can't do that on a rental? I found this out personally recently, that I, as a homeowner, cannot pull my homeowner permits on a property that's a commercial property because there are other people living in it, not myself.
Correct.
So there's too much liability. They want the city wants you to you have to hire a professional, and you have to have someone with a license pull the permit.
Correct.
On a commercial or a business owned or income producing property.
Correct. So basically, it's a touchy subject. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you at all. Contractors hate pulling permits. They hate it. Because I'll give you an example. I was doing a job yesterday morning, and I was standing out front. The inspector showed up. He walks on the job. He literally walks by me. As he's walking by me, he says under his breath, just loud enough so I could hear. Well, he goes, I haven't passed anything all morning. I don't think I'm going to start right now. And he just kept walking. So I stopped him. I go, hey, what are we doing? Why are we, you haven't even got onto the property yet, and you're already mouthing off how you're not passing it.
Yeah, it's like he stomped on your toes walking in the front door.
So then he kind of looked back, and he kind of smirked, and then I was like, what are we doing? And then he kind of broke the ice a little, and he was like, some days I pass everything, some days I pass nothing. And I said, today is one of those everyday things. And you're passing everything today, so let's get that attitude going in the right direction.
Yeah.
So
let's fix this now.
Yeah. So, and because of that, there's a lot of bad. I don't want to say mojo, but it creates.
There's a little bit of bad blood.
Yeah, and it slows us down. It slows us down so much, but it unfortunately is a necessary evil. But it does slow us down, and we begrudgingly have to do it.
Right.
That's probably the best way to put it. It's like taking medicine. You don't want to do it, but you know it's going to be better for you in the long run.
As far as a homeowner pulling one, like if they are the homeowner and they're pulling their homeowner permits, is there anything you would advise to look out for, or to pay special attention to at any one trade of a DIY project?
I'd say probably the major ones, the electrical, plumbing, HVAC.
Yeah, which are probably ones, unless you have experience with, you probably should be hiring a pro for those anyway.
What you can do on that case, though, you can pull a homeowner permit and then hire the pro.
Yeah.
Or hire, somebody that has experience in that, and they can do it. Then they can call in and have it inspected by the city. Right.
You can pull your own permit and then bring in somebody with, whether they're licensed or not.
Correct.
Bring in someone with more experience to take care of it, and then you're still covered under your homeowner's permit.
You still at least have somewhat of a safety net.
Right. Yeah. Right. That makes sense. All right. So one of the questions we got was, have you ever had encounters with unexpected wildlife in a project that you were working on?
Yeah, but from the homeowner side, typically not.
Right.
We see weird stuff. Because
I think this is more for just kind of you just telling a fun story or.
One thing you're going to learn about me, man, is I'm pretty rough around the edges, and most of the animals that I encounter are dead.
Yeah.
Most of them.
That's the business though. You're dealing with houses that have been empty for 2, 3, 4 years, or that are really, really nasty.
We have, it's not uncommon for us to come across kittens, cats.
Yep.
People, and it's weird. People literally just have family pets, and when they leave the house, they just leave, and they leave the pets.
So weird.
It is. I was at one yesterday. No, that was Friday, I think. They left a one of those little rat-looking things.
Hamsters or
no, it's a kind of
ferrets.
A ferret. Yeah. They just left a ferret in the house.
Just left him
running around. It was an albino. Just running around
the house.
Oh my gosh. The house is empty.
Was he still alive when you went? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he scared the hell out of me. And that's what, I probably encounter more scary people.
Yeah.
Like squatters that.
Oh yeah.
You walk in a bedroom and you're like, oh God, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
They're thinking the same. Yeah, no, I've seen some pretty odd stuff, but yeah, I don't want to say the ferret was the weirdest one. Guys that have I don't like? I don't like pet snakes.
Oh yeah.
They have one, I had this one house I was in. They had a bamboo rack hanging from their ceiling, which was above their bed, and they had a snake that would climb on that bamboo rack.
Above their bed.
Yeah. I don't know.
If you own snakes, man, cool, but I'm not a snake person. That would freak me out.
I would
pretty bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't like
I could never sleep knowing there's a snake crawling about. Yeah, no, that wouldn't work. Well, you mentioned squatters and stuff like that, so I guess we'll kind of carry the same question over to that part of it, since it's a little more in your field. You've had squatters and stuff like that, because a lot of times homeowners may buy a second home or something like that, or have to deal with a family member's home that's passed, and they have to come to town to deal with it or something like that, and there's squatters in it. What do you do when you do encounter squatters? How do you handle that?
Well, there's a couple things. We normally just, like, we had one here recently. It's kind of a weird deal. South Dallas, down by Fair Park. It was a homeless lady, and this house had been vacant for so long that she basically just entrenched herself there. She slept on the front porch. Like, she literally had a makeup station set up. She had her cell phone charger. With a solar charger plugged in. She had her cardboard down for her bed. I mean, she was living there, and she had all of her clothes stacked up. And so we actually left her there for probably while we were doing the rehab, because it was in a bad part of town.
Yeah.
So I talked to the homeowner about it, or the owner, and they were like, I mean, is she bothering y'all? I mean, she's not bothering us right now, but at some point, she's going to have to leave. Yeah. But right now, she's kind of like a security dog. So we just had a conversation with her and said, hey, listen, the time will come when you have to leave. Yeah. But right now, you can stay for probably the next couple weeks. And then she slowly, over the course of probably about a week, I had to remind her, said, hey, that 2 weeks is coming up. And then she slowly started getting her stuff out, and then she was gone.
That's actually really cool. I have never heard anything like that before.
So we've done that before. I've had some of them where we were doing an apartment complex, again, in South Dallas. And the homeowner, in my opinion, made a critical error there. And they should have been more forceful. And they weren't. They were being nice like I was being nice to the lady. But I had a better read. These people, what they ended up doing is they kept staying there, stealing all the copper.
Oh.
And so...
that gets expensive quick.
Yeah. It got to the point where they stole all of it, and we couldn't get them out. So he had to use force with the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
But at that point, you've got to engage, documents. You've got to show deeds. You've got to show timelines and intent. And so most of the time when we encounter them, we can have conversations and give them a couple of days to gather their thoughts, and then they just kind of leave.
Right.
Not often do they want to stick around, because we just start work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're there 8 o'clock in the morning, turn on the Hispanic station on the radio good and loud, and start banging and get going. And, it's like these houses that are infested with, like, bugs. Okay? Once we start working, like all the rats and stuff like that, once we start working, most of the time they leave.
Well, yeah.
So, and I'm not trying to make a correlation there between people and rats.
No, not at all.
But it's just kind of how it works. Once the work really gets going, nobody wants to be around it.
Right.
Especially start painting and spraying and.
Well, as a homeowner and as someone that has bought investment properties, I've had to deal with squatters too. And about the easiest way that I've found to deal with squatters is what we call cash for keys.
Yeah.
You get to the property, you have $500 or whatever, and you talk to them and say, look, I will give you $500, pack your stuff, be out in 30 minutes, I'll come back by with the money. You be standing here with all your stuff out of the house, I'll give you $500, go find somewhere else.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you come back with a police officer or something like that, just to make sure there's no problem and make sure that they did pack everything up and they're going to be out. You also come back with your contractor and you either board the house up or you do something like that. You give them cash, they're gone.
It's kind of what had to happen at those apartments. We ended up having to board the whole place up and let it set for about 10 days. Just to let it set, just to kind of, I don't want to say let the dust settle, but let people realize they can't get in anymore.
Right. And then we actually, on one of them, we actually hired the neighbors. We gave them like $100 a week just to kind of keep their eyes open. And if they see someone going in the house that wasn't one of us or the contractor, call the police and say, hey, the squatters are back.
Yeah.
And we just gave them $100 a week or something like that to keep an eye out. So that's something, if you're dealing with a squatter in a family member's house or something like that, that's a way that maybe you can navigate that situation a little bit.
I also have a lot of clients that use these things called barrel alarms. It's basically like a 55-gallon drum that sets up in the middle of their house, and it's an alarm. They set them up on barrels. I don't know why they use barrels, but they do. And they have like motion sensors, and they just set them up in the house. And then as long as you have power, then you can set that alarm. And when it goes off, it is loud.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it doesn't turn off until somebody punches
it. It goes on that barrel. And
oh, my God. It's horrible.
Yeah. Okay. If you had one piece of just unconventional, something that nobody really thinks of, if you had one thing to warn them about, what would that be?
Keep your expectations low.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned with, it's really a tough question to answer. The best advice is probably going to be, well, I think we've already touched on it maybe, for a homeowner is going to be trust your gut, know who you're talking to, and get a good feel for them. You're interviewing people that are going to be in your home. Mm-hmm. And
know they're interviewing you too.
Yeah, that interview goes both ways. Mm-hmm. Which is why, maybe the piece of advice should be, if someone says we're not a good fit, drop it.
Yeah.
Just don't chase it.
Why
would you go continue?
They do this for a living and they know how it works, and yeah.
And also too, if you come across a contractor, this is probably it right here, that's ready to start tomorrow, run.
Really?
Yeah. There's a good reason why somebody's ready to start tomorrow.
Because they don't have
anything to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you call us and say, hey, we've got a project, and if you're a homeowner, it's a little further out. But if you're an investor, we're 5 to 7 days away. From the day that you say go. Yeah. And I'll tell you something else too, man. I think you struck a nerve with me now. So I tell you what, when I don't think people understand that it's not easy for a contractor to to schedule an appointment, come into your home, listen to you for an hour and a half with your dogs barking and your kids bitching or whatever the hell they're doing, and have a conversation with you, and then take measurements, and then bring out contractors to get final numbers, and then have you go, no, it's not going to work, and then just ghost them. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
And you burn that bridge. So how easy?
Hearing that, I've probably done that a time or two myself.
And that's crappy.
It is, and I never meant it to be.
And it's one of those things to where you go out, you get a bid, the bid comes back too high, then let's at least acknowledge the fact of that. Okay, for me, I'm speaking just for me.
Yeah, your time.
You called my office. We scheduled an appointment with my office. I drove out to your home. I spent an hour and a half probably with you. I turned in numbers to my office that then generated some form of bid or something that probably took a couple of hours. Then we emailed it. Then we had another conversation about that email. I probably, if the numbers are close, I probably will have a second meeting with you at the home to make sure we understand what we're doing. And then to have you go, man, I just don't think we can do it right now. Something came up. Or not even that, you just ghost them. Let's look at it like this. How would you like that done to you?
Right.
You wouldn't. So
it's never even dawned on me. Like, it never crossed my mind.
So what sounds better? Hey guys, or an email or even a handwritten letter or something that says, Blake and Finishing Touches team, I really appreciate everything that you put into this. Unfortunately, things have come up in my life right now. I'm not going to be able to move forward, but enclosed is a Amazon gift card for $25. Thank you for your time.
Right. Handle it respectfully and at least a little something for, a pat on the back to say thanks for your time.
Or even not even Amazon.
Even if you
$10 gift card to Starbucks. Or not even that, just something.
Or even a heartfelt letter. Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario.
An email.
Yeah.
A text. something that says,
I'm guilty of that.
Thanks for your time.
Now I feel bad.
But it's, so if you add that time up.
Yeah,
that was I probably calculated 10 hours.
And that's a pretty decent amount of money.
Yeah. Just to be like, nah, I'm good.
Or literally, I mean, if you're taking, if you talk to 4 or 5 different contractors, and I can see where, you're writing 4 or 5 different letters, that kind of sucks, but it sucks a lot more for the contractor because they all spent 5 to 10 hours each trying to get your bid together. So I get both sides of it, but I think the contractor has a little more invested in that time than you did. So I can see that. A lot of times homeowners will not think about it. They'll interview 4 or 5 different contractors. Okay, his numbers were best, or okay, I liked him best. We'll call him, and you literally just ignore all the rest of them. And what he's saying makes a lot of sense, that they all spent a considerable amount of time trying to put this together for you. At the very least, write them an email, or give them a call, leave them a voicemail, something saying, hey, just being polite and respectful. I can totally get that.
I mean, so for the homeowner world, you can ghost people and get away with it.
I think I actually did that to you once. Crap. Oh no.
I told you hit a nerve.
That might have been what it was.
No. With the homeowners, you can get away with it,
Mm-hmm.
But in the investment world, the community's much smaller.
Right.
And you do that to enough people a couple of times, and it's like this. Just like all the investors talk and have their meetings,
mm-hmm.
all the contractors talk and they all have their meetings.
Yeah.
So, and you don't want to be that guy or that gal. So, from a homeowner, I think it was probably not a bad idea to create a loose script of what you want,
mm-hmm.
but also allow the contractors to add their 2 cents.
Right. Don't be so stuck on your list. I mean, take their advice because they do this professionally.
Right.
So, yeah.
And if they say we're not a good fit, run with that. I'll give you an example. I have a lot of, I get calls fairly regularly where people that, my dad was a general contractor and he lives out of state and he's going to come in and help me do this. And I'm like, we're not a good fit.
Yep.
Or they're an engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer.
Oh, yeah.
We're not a good fit. And
those never work out well.
It's not. It's not because they need to hire day labor
mm-hmm.
that they can manage. They don't need a general contractor. They need individual traits that they can work hand in hand with.
Exactly.
And I explain that to them, and then they still get a little upset that I offended them because...
Well, they're different industries. Your industry is running a job site, running your different crews, and managing the entire process and managing the construction part of it.
Right.
Whereas what they're talking about is them managing it, or their uncle or dad or whoever managing it.
Yeah.
And like you said, they just need some laborers. They need some labor electricians or floor tile layers or whatever. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That sounds right. So what is the most surprising thing that you have ever found hidden in the walls or in the structure when you're remodeling a house and you have the remodeling finds? What's the strangest or most bizarre find?
Well, that list is so extensive. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, typically we find like old beer cans that the contractors throw inside the wall when they're working.
Yeah. Trash.
Old beer cans. At a house in Camp Bowie in Fort Worth, we found some old medals inside of a wall when it was from Camp Bowie.
Oh wow!
So that was kind of cool.
Like military medals.
Yeah. Yeah, because all those homes were all camp. I mean,
Right.
that was all part of like the nurses' quarters, and once you take them down to the studs,
Right.
you can see how the original home laid out, or it was like a nurse's quarters. Like you can see the original framing, the raw,
Yeah.
the rough cut timber, and you can see how it was laid out.
Yeah, you can see the difference in the stud walls
Yeah.
from the originals and
The real 2x4, they're 2x4.
an actual 2x4 inch
Yeah.
versus 1.5 by 3.5.
But I tell you, so that was pretty cool, and find a lot of like girly magazines in the walls and like just stuff like just old old stuff. I tell you the most interesting, I don't know about interesting, but the one that I kicked myself in the ass the most for was again over off of Camp Bowie. We were cleaning out this house, and one of my guys finds in the bottom of this garage, underneath all these piles of crap, he finds an old saxophone. And we all tried to play it. We all laughed and kind of moved on. And he's like, I'm going to take it. And I was like, I don't care. I don't want the damn thing.
Yeah.
So he took the saxophone, took it home, did some research on it, and then took it to a music store. Sold the damn thing for $25,000. Yeah.
Wow. So it was some big name antique or something.
I guess. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, and he didn't bother to tell us that until about a month after the fact.
Well, yeah, he didn't want y'all getting any of that money. That makes it, well, that's just smart on his part.
Yeah, so he still works for me now.
Well, that's good that you didn't fire him for
it.
Or demand some money.
The saxophone.
Take it out of his paycheck.
Yeah. That was probably the most interesting in the sense that it was like, damn.
Yeah, I missed that one.
We always find, I've got... these old hoarder homes and stuff, you always find unusual stuff. Like that one house that you sold me a while back.
Oh, that was... Oh. You needed smell-o-vision to appreciate that one.
There wasn't nothing worth keeping in that house.
The drywall was trash. Just not because it was damaged, but just because of the smell in the house. The drywall was damaged.
Interesting story. They had really big dogs that lived with them.
Yeah.
And they lived in this hoarder, disgusting...
It was bad, y'all. It wasn't like just stacks of stuff everywhere. It was
there was human feces on the walls.
Yes, it was that kind of place.
And what's interesting is once we finally got it all emptied, at some point, they had taken the master shower and turned it into the dog wash. They had bolted chains to the wall, and they would chain the dog to the shower and then wash the dog in the shower.
Oh my God.
It was pretty bad, man.
That's horrible.
It was pretty rough.
I mean, you needed a mask just to go in the house to inspect it. It was that bad.
Yeah.
I actually did a house in Camp Bowie. The lady had been deceased for a few years, and we got the house, and she was a hoarder. And there was so much stuff. It stunk so bad that when we finally got the front door open, my wife was out on the street, outside of the curb. And she said that when we opened the door, it wafted all the way out to her, and she smelled the house.
Yeah.
And it almost made her gag. So we walked in the house, and it was trails to each room, and there were dead animals. There were I've had that. I think somebody actually stepped through a mummified animal. Just kind of crunched. It was horrible. I apologize if that was too much. But it was so bad that when we walked into the bedroom, I was trying to find something, and I walked into the bedroom, and I didn't have to step up per se.
Yeah.
I walked and wound up on top of the bed.
Yeah.
Like just walking, and I looked around, and I was like, I'm 4 feet taller. All of a sudden,
the head's hitting the ceiling. You're like, how'd that happen?
Wait. That's probably the worst one I've ever been in, just as far as actual hoarding and stuff.
Right.
But the one that I sold you was the worst I've ever had, as far as just outright disgusting. All right. So, have you ever had any accidents or oops moments on those job sites that wound up being funny, that weren't, catastrophic? They were just oops moments that wound up, in hindsight, you look back and just, it was funny.
Probably not a whole lot. It's more things that you look at and go, what the hell's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Like I got one guy that installed a rain head on a shower. So the shower has a rain head on the wall, and then a regular shower head on the wall with a gooseneck.
Yeah.
And then it has a rain head out of the ceiling. The rain head should be a straight pipe, and the one on the wall is a gooseneck. Well, Genius put the gooseneck on the rain head, so it shot
to the wall.
Yeah. And he installed it and left it. And it's kind of like that there's probably not a lot of things that aren't funny that are. It's a lot of things you look at and go, like, Bill Engel, here's your sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even know how my name gets put on that. Like, how do we get to the point where we have a rain head that shoots sideways? I get that picture sent to me and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, fix that. I can't have my name on that. That's got to come out.
Yeah, there's a lot of those type of things that it's like boneheaded.
It's funny now, though.
And now it's funny, but at the time you're like,
yeah.
How do I, when a homeowner comes home and they're looking at a rain head going, they're like, the confidence level drops.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I say keep your expectations low. If you keep your expectations low, you're never going to be upset.
Yeah. I was rehabbing a house in Chico, Texas, and had a lot of that kind of thing happen. It was basically one thing after another. Tore down a wall that wound up being load bearing, and you could just see the ceiling. Bloop.
Yep.
So we had to come in with studs and jack everything up and redo. It was just, and that was just one of the 15 different things. The drywall, they said, yeah, we're done. The drywall's all done. And you could see smooth lines where they patched, the texture went, and then it just went smooth and texture. And it was some of the worst work I've ever seen. And I was like, I can't put my name on this.
Right.
It's just, and looking back, it's funny, and I'm like, it is what it is. But we finally got it all fixed, and it was all done, and brought in different crews and stuff like that. But yeah, looking back, it's kind of funny. But yeah, at the time, you're like, that's
not gonna work.
But that's
how are we? Yeah, like yesterday, I had a guy put on a black shower head, pretty normal. Well, he used a pair of channel locks and didn't use any towel or anything on them. So he scratched the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But he left it. And it's like, okay, you made a mistake.
Right.
But my problem is, from a contractor's perspective, the homeowner caught that.
Yeah.
Not us.
Oh.
So we should have caught it as a company.
Yeah.
But we didn't, because he didn't bother to tell us. So the homeowner gets upset, and it's like, we're going to pay to fix it. We're going to buy a new one.
We got it covered.
That's why you hired a professional company. Ideally, it's why you hired a professional company. But we're standing behind it to fix it. But what frustrates the business owner or the contractor is, why wouldn't you just tell me you did that?
Right.
Number one, why'd you do it? That's boneheaded. But number two, why don't you just say, hey, I scratched it? Instead of letting
and it's not that big a deal. Okay, you made a mistake.
Because
it's $100. It's a $100 mistake. We can fix it, and if you tell us, we can save face. Whereas now, that might actually cost us a deal later on another property.
Or it just causes a ripple at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night that nobody needs.
Yeah, right. Well,
we could just send a picture and say, hey, Mr. Homeowner, I apologize. My guy scratched the thing. We've already ordered a new one. It'll be here in 3 days.
Yeah.
And then it's handled.
And it's all good.
So, and that's the intent, and that's what frustrates me the most is people get, like that customer, he got upset. But don't get upset until there's no resolution.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's probably one of my big takeaways to not only homeowners, but investors alike. If you're working with a professional, right, things are going to happen. But it's how they fix it that matters. So,
and as an investor, you know when you're working with a professional or
you
not.
know, I mean, yeah, it's
Even as a homeowner, but especially as an investor.
things are going to happen. There's probably, if you had to stop on any given job, there's probably 100 moving parts every 2 days.
Yeah.
At least. Those are going to break. Something's going to happen. And that's why I tell customers all the time is, especially homeowners, I'm like, look, you're going to come in from lunch and to have lunch at the house or whatever on your lunch break, and the door's going to be wide open and the air conditioner's going to be on. The guys were carrying in sheetrock. They went in, sat down, and they forgot to shut the door.
Yeah, and got busy.
Or they left the window open, and it's 35 degrees outside, and your heater's running.
Yeah.
These things are going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to, on the investment side, that guy is going to leave the work. You're going to go there on your lunch break to have lunch, to check the house on your lunch break. You're going to sneak away for an hour, and you're going to go there, and you don't have a key because the key's in the lockbox that you provided. That's where it should be.
But
the workers left to go to lunch, and they took all their tools are in the house. So they locked all their tools in the house and took the key because they didn't want anybody to be able to go there and steal their tools.
Yeah.
Is that right? No, probably not. But should you as an investor have a backup key? Probably.
Probably so, yeah.
Probably. So why do you get mad at me when you can't get in your own house?
Yeah. When you didn't plan for just such a,
But that's my point. Is things like this are going to somebody through the course of a remodel or a rehab. Those are two different things, by the way. It's a separate conversation. Somebody's going to break a window.
Yeah.
It's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lose sleep over a broken window.
Right.
And the homeowner should just be as simple as, hey guys, I don't know how it happened, but somebody broke a window. It's just like somebody's gonna walk out to the garage and push the button, open the garage door, and it's gonna be manually locked, and it's gonna rip the garage door off the track.
And professionals will take care of it if it was on their
Correct.
watch, and yeah.
So, and that's part of it is people get mad about that stuff, but let's not get mad till we don't have a result.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's get mad and let's get angry when my attitude is like, oh well, I guess you need to buy a new one. Then
yeah, that's an issue.
Let's have a conversation about that.
I was always taught when you come to someone with either a question or a problem, come with that question or problem and an answer and a solution.
Right.
And if you as a contractor come to me as a homeowner and say, hey, we broke a window, but like you said a minute ago, but we've already got one ordered. It'll be here in 2 days. We've got it covered. Everything's good to go. No worries. I just wanted to let you know out of respect, hey, this is what happened.
So since we're on that topic, let's have this conversation. Let's say that, let's try to have, as a homeowner or an investor, and you're working with a contractor, let's try to have a little bit of empathy. Just a smidge.
Yeah.
Let me let this play out for you here. So, as the homeowner or the contractor, I'm doing one job for you, and I broke your window, and you get mad. We already established one thing's going to go wrong at least.
Yeah.
I got 15 other houses. So it's constant a state of fire drills, putting out fires.
Yeah, they're only looking at one house.
You're looking at one.
Yeah.
I got 15. Now that's my choice. So I'm not saying my problems are your problems. But what I am saying is let's have a second of empathy. Instead of sending off a crappy email on a Sunday night because you and the wife went out for dinner and had cocktails and drove by the house and saw the broken window or saw that, the painter washed out paint in the front yard and got paint in the grass.
Oh, I've seen that.
And you send out that email. Well, let's send the email, but let's just go, hey guys, can we do a better job of this in the future?
Right. Hey, clean up a little better, please.
You guys left Topo Chico bottles and jalapenos all over the floors. Come on, guys, stop it.
Yeah.
Just a second, and before you hit send, go, man, he's probably got 20 of these problems a day to do.
Now with the window, it's something that you probably should have already mentioned to him. But the
window happened on a Saturday afternoon. I'm painting a picture.
Okay.
The window happened on a Saturday afternoon, and the guy that did it doesn't want to fess up because he doesn't have the money to pay for the window. Okay. So nobody knows who did it. You just showed up Sunday after an evening out with the wife having cocktails, and you see the broken window.
And nobody told the boss man.
No, it was Saturday. Yeah. No project manager's been by there to check it. But again, nobody did it.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And that makes sense.
it
So
happens
yeah.
all the time. Literally, it happens all the time, every day. The painters are washing out their paint
I've had that one
in
happen
the
a
kitchen
lot.
sink.
Oh, I've had that one happen a lot too.
They're using the brand new stove to warm tortillas on. I know they're not supposed to. I do. Fully aware. But these things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's how we handle them and how we try to rectify, that it, and that stuff, I mean, we can do hours.
Yeah, you just just don't be a hothead about it. Just take a minute,
And have some respect and just go, let's send this email and let's make sure that it gets addressed, but let's see how they respond before we get nasty with it.
Right, and that's how it should be with everything.
It should be, but it's not.
Right, yeah. I mean, it should be, everything should be, first attempt should be polite and, hey, whatever, and then if it's not rectified or not handled properly, even verbally, then maybe get a little more, firm about it. But
right.
yeah, definitely respectful and easygoing at first.
So you got me on a soapbox on that one.
Well, that's all right. It's
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
You've been asking me a lot of questions. I'm going to ask you one.
All right.
What's your favorite wrestler?
Oh gosh, I don't watch a lot of wrestling.
From back in the day.
From back in the day.
Kid.
What?
The Heartbreak Kid.
The Heartbreak Kid. My wife says the Heartbreak Kid. I don't know. There were a few that were really good. The Undertaker was good. Goldberg, Steve Austin.
I'm going to take you way back. I kind of liked Captain Lou Albano. Or the Great Kabuki.
Yeah, Mr. Rubber Band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Mr. T even came in a few times and did some stuff.
Ric Flair.
Now Ric Flair, it's hard to go wrong. Yeah, it's hard to go wrong with Ric Flair, the Warrior.
The Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a wild kid too.
And still the Undertaker, because he goes back about that far.
Yeah, he does.
Andre the Giant.
Andre was a lot of fun. I tell you who was also pretty cool, if you go back and watch old videos, was Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Oh, wow.
You remember him?
Barely.
Yeah. He was the high flyer back in the day. So I just thought I'd throw something at you.
Yeah, I haven't thought anything about wrestling in forever.
That's why I thought it'd be a fun question.
I liked The Rock then to some degree, but he kind of got on your nerves too.
Oh yeah, with that goofy look.
Yeah. It got to where it was kind of, dude, just shut up and wrestle, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Good question.
Coming out of left field.
Right. What is the craziest request? Whether it for any reason, whether it's something to build, something to set up, something to do. What is the craziest request you've ever had from a homeowner or investor?
I don't know if it's crazy, but heated toilet seats.
Yeah, it doesn't sound crazy. It sounds a little extravagant. A little
This
over the
particular
top.
one, we have to run electrical to it because it's motion censored. So when you walk by, the lid opens up like this, and then the seat starts to heat up. Yeah.
So the seat raises and heats up.
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of defeat?
The lid raises.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So not the first lid, not
the sanitary lid.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm sure I have a list of
Crazies.
but none of them are coming to my brain right now that were that outlandish. That's like
No kitchen designs, no kitchen window behind the refrigerator, no just nutty.
no like safe rooms, stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, I may not have anything for you on that one.
Steel safe room closets. Hidden rooms.
Yeah, I mean, we've done stuff like that,
Yeah.
but that to me is not, I'm
It's
trying
not
to think
outlandish.
of more extravagant
Yeah.
or more.
Outlandish kind of.
Well, I do have a lady right now that we're working with. She's got so the stuff that I see that's crazy is probably more like, I can't believe they're doing that.
Mm.
You know, it's like she spent $12,000 on a bathtub. I'm paying a moving company to move it.
Yeah, well, my God.
Taking it upstairs. I'm not even touching it. We're paying a moving company to literally carry it up one flight of stairs because I don't want to be responsible for carrying it up there.
Right.
So she's got. So this is extravagant. Okay, so this isn't really. I don't think I've done anything where it's like scary per se. More extravagant.
Mm-hmm.
She's got this shower that we're building for her right now. It's got 14 shower heads in it.
That's pretty crazy.
Voice activated, Bluetooth capable. She can control
And
the
this is a
shower on her
homeowner,
phone.
not an
Yeah.
investor.
She can control the shower from her phone.
Why?
It doesn't even have valves. All the valves are hidden inside the wall, and they're Wi-Fi compatible.
Yeah, so there's no knobs to turn it
Nope.
on and off. You just, with your
Walk
phone.
in and say it, or you use your phone. 78-degree water. Here it comes. Water on. Here it comes. Body sprayers, rain heads. The rain heads pivot like this. They rotate back and forth.
Yeah.
They're driven off of pressure, like the old.
So they automatically, like, you don't have to set it to do it. When it comes on,
you say rain head, the rain head turns on.
and starts to
Pivot.
swivel.
Yeah.
See, to me, that's pretty crazy.
Her tile has gold flake in it.
That's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of extravagance.
Yeah. So that's more what I encounter, probably more than like wacky, kooky stuff.
Oh, well, that's pretty. And you're still working on it. I should probably shut up. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's an expensive job.
It's a pretty cool looking shower.
Oh, I imagine so. I wouldn't mind seeing some pictures of that sometime. That's another one I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around, just the extravagance and why you would need that, or even, I guess, want that much extravagance. I'm just a country boy. I'm used to stepping over the bathtub wall and turning on your shower, and not anymore.
No. This new technology that Kohler's launched here recently, it's pretty wild, man. Like, all the tubes come into manifolds that are mounted to the back of the shower that has an access panel that you can access, and there's no more shower valves. It's wild. She can literally lay in bed, turn her shower on,
and let it warm up or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just go walk in with it running.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's kind of that. I can see that being kind of cool.
Oh, it is cool. She can even turn the steam sauna on.
I can see
her phone.
I can see the use in that. Like, it's not just an extravagant. Oh, I want to spend even more money. I can see that being.
She can turn the shower
useful.
on and turn her steam sauna on at the same time with her phone, and then once it steams up, it'll alert her once it's
ready.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. Someday I might be able to pull something like that off.
We got backlit tiles, so the shower has lights inside the tile.
Wow, are they clear tiles?
They're opaque. Opaque.
Have a clearness to them.
Yeah.
50%, 30% something. That's pretty cool.
She's an investor, but it's her personal.
Oh, well, that kind of makes more sense too. All right. Well, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds like one that would be fun to walk.
Well, I've got the videos. If I ever got on social media and did what I'm supposed to be doing in life, then I could post all the videos.
Well, maybe if if you ever do that, shoot me a link and we'll link it to this video or something.
There you go.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to get into some of the other questions, or do you think we're running out of time?
We can do a couple more, then I got to bounce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier you said that there is a difference between a rehab and a remodel.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad you brought that back up because they're two completely different things.
Yeah, go into some detail on
Well, in fact, it's kind of funny because a long time ago, this is a really old shirt of mine. Actually, it says rehabs to remodeling on it, which kind of shows there's a distinction there. I've kind of gotten away from this particular logo, but the intent is still there. A rehab is what's done on an investment property for a real estate investor.
Okay, that's rehab.
A remodel is typically what's done on your personal home. And they're typically done by different crews, meaning the guys that you have that doing the rehab on your investments may not be the same caliber of people that you would want to put on your personal home.
And that makes sense because your rehab is more of
It's a budget driven.
Yeah.
It's a budget driven. It's in and out, and we're focusing on. I'm going to go off on a private trail. You have to bring me back in. So one thing I teach in a lot of classes is there's a three-legged stool. It's speed, quality, and price. You're only going to get two. Pick the two you want.
Yep.
And typically investors are going
and that's the same way with just about anything in construction or even business for that matter. A lot of times.
Rehab will probably focus more on speed and timing and a budget.
Right.
Which means we're going to compromise a little bit of quality.
Okay.
On your personal home.
But the finish out, like the behind the scenes quality, not the magazine cover quality.
Right.
Yeah.
So in most rehabs, we're going to be focusing on time and the quality. No, time and price because we're on a budget because we're investors.
Right.
Homeowners are going to focus on quality and time.
Right.
And then they're going to pay for that.
Right.
So it's two different things.
Makes a lot of sense.
So that sums up why there's two different things. There's two different ones there. I've always kind of looked at marketing and this, that, and the other, and said I really should do some marketing that talks about I'm in rehab and the 12 steps of rehab. How I could relate that into construction and investors.
Okay. With that said, you mentioned steps. Could you go over just a real quick synopsis? I know that it's a very the question could be taken so many different ways and so many different routes, but just a quick idea of if a homeowner comes to you and says, "I want my kitchens and bathrooms redone to bring the value up on my house," what kind of timeline do you think is on something like that? If they get out of the way, you don't have homeowners in the way, you don't have any outlying issues. Just
you probably need to be prepared for about 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah. What do the steps look like?
The steps would be finalizing everything up front, ordering all the product, and nothing happens till all the product is on site.
Okay.
And then it becomes an abracadabra. Tear it out, put it back as fast as we can. But as long as all the product's there, it can move pretty quick. Because we really don't want these homeowners to be disrupted for long periods of time.
Right.
So the shorter, the better I can do shortening that by going the extra mile and having everything delivered, cabinets already in the garage.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
So before you even go in the house, you have everything staged, set up, ready. So when you go in the house, you tear the cabinets out and you put the new ones up. Like same day.
Not same day.
Well,
same week.
Yeah.
Yeah, same 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that way they're there at my disposal. Because if it goes faster than I anticipated, which it never does, but if it did, then we've already got the cabinets on site.
Right. It's kind of like what they say that the 20-year overnight success.
Right.
Yeah. It takes a person 20 years behind the scenes, but all you ever see is you see them one day and the next day they're famous.
Right.
Kind of the same thing. It took you weeks to get everything's set up and staged, and then all of a sudden in 2 weeks, everything's done.
Done. Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So 4 weeks.
You know, and the process too is I was with a homeowner yesterday, and it was kind of mind-numbing for a minute. She was like, I want to replace the floors. I was like, okay. And she goes, and then I want to do my cabinets, and then I want to do my bathroom. I was like, we're going completely out of step here.
That's not the order these are supposed to be done.
Why would we go in flooring first and then try to work on top of brand new floors?
Yeah.
So I had to back her up and say, look, first thing, we're actually going to start from the top and work down.
Yeah.
And the last thing we do will be flooring. And she was like, oh, and I was like, well, this is, and it's
Well,
just
yeah.
common sense to me, but that's because I live in that world and she clearly doesn't. So
Right, and that's one of the things, you know, we touched on it earlier. Take your contractor's word for it in a lot of things. Listen to what they have to say. Unless you have as much experience as they do, in which case you're probably not hiring them anyway. Listen to your contractor, because man, they do this for a living. They do this every day. So in a scenario like what he's talking about, you don't want to redo your floors and then redo your cabinets, and you're scraping you're tearing your cabinets out and sliding them across your brand new floors,
Right.
and then sliding your new cabinets in, and it's just a big old mess. And I mean, there are ways to still do it with construction paper but it's not preferred. It's not the way it's not the professional way to do it.
right.
So that, listen to your contractors. Well, Blake, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I think it was super informative and really enjoyed it.
Good.
So,
Awesome.
And
Thanks for having me.
Blake with Finishing Touches, he's a resource, a wealth of knowledge. So he's on the group, so you can probably ask some questions. If you have a question, just say, hey, Blake, and he can probably answer you. He's super busy. Don't get mad if he doesn't answer the first hour, but probably that week or something like that, he can probably throw an answer down for you.
Yeah, and you can find us at finishingtouchesremodeling.com or call our office at 817-451-6565. Thank you.
Awesome.